Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's approximately 7 p.m. on 4/5/2021, the year that we get the victory, I do believe. This is Mike, the Patriot, coming to you live from Central Missouri. I hope you're having a great evening. Hope everything's going well for you as you're jumping on. Say hi, where are you watching from? And do me a favor, if you're watching this on Facebook right now, please like, comment, and share this video. Also, if you're watching on the YouTube, subscribe, ring the bell, and hit the like button. That helps me. And share it from there. Also, check me out on Rumble. That's my Rumble link right there. Everything I do gets loaded to Rumble as soon as I'm done. And Rumble's still free, so use Rumble. That's me on YouTube. If you're watching me on Facebook, you know where I'm at. And this is my Telegram. As I'm doing research, trying to do my morning shows, everything gets loaded over to Telegram, so you can kind of get an idea where I'm at. And so much gets put over there, I don't have time to use it all. So check out Telegram. It's what's happening now in socials. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce a good friend of mine. I've known this guy for years, back to my old racing days. That's how long I've known this guy. And anyways, I want to introduce to you David Goodson. He's an entrepreneur, business owner here in Central Missouri, owns a great company. And he's going to talk about what's going on with the local election, all stuff. He's kind of been outspoken, to say the least. So, David, how are you doing today? Introduce yourself as people are jumping on.
Mike, hey, thanks for having me on. I'm David Goodson, born and raised here in Sedalia, Missouri. I'm a local local as they get. I own a sign company, and we work all over the United States, and of course, all over Missouri. And we're a custom shop, and we work for everybody from small family-owned businesses up to some of the best Fortune 500 brands in the world. So we've worked in everything from stadiums to donut shops. So you name it, we do it. So that's what I do. We're just under 50 employees, and life's good with work.
Yeah, I see you're posting on Facebook. You're putting signs up all over the country, so that's kind of cool. So it's right out of little old Sedalia, Missouri.
It's really fun. A lot of times we'll be on the phone with people. We did a project down in Crystal Beach, Texas, and we had to put these big sign cranes and gooseneck trailers and load it down with signage and actually ITM canopies, and we took it down to do a project, and we had to float all of our equipment across the Galveston Bay on a ferry to get to the job site. And our crew's amazing. They knocked it out, floated back home, and here we are.
That'd be kind of cool, though. That would be kind of cool. I'm just saying.
It was really cool. And then, they turned around 2 weeks later and they take off to Michigan. So, we're really proud of the work locally, but we work all over. And like I say, we've got an amazing, amazing team.
Well, I vote Galveston, Texas over Michigan in the wintertime. I'm just saying.
Oh, absolutely. Beautiful.
So anyways, let me just mention, I forgot to mention when I was announcing, I'll be watching the comments. So if you have any questions for David about the upcoming Pettis County election or any other questions, we'll see if we can answer them or make up an answer for him anyway. So, so we have an election tomorrow. Kind of give us a history on what's going on, why you got involved, what you're thinking, all that kind of stuff.
Mike, honestly, I was never cared about politics. In the last couple of years, I've just seen it getting crazier and crazier. And, when this COVID deal hit locally, I've seen how important some of our local boards, committees, everything was. And I think, like a lot of people, I didn't pay attention to it. I was complacent. I didn't care. I mean, whatever they did, it didn't affect me. It wasn't anything I worried about. And then, lo and behold, we have COVID, and this current health board and health department. Look what they did. They shut down churches and soccer, all the sports. They shut down barbers and salons. They shut down gyms. They were really partial dining in restaurants to no dining in restaurants to drive-through only. And we saw people struggling all along. They always said it was safe to go to Walmart or Menards or wherever you wanted to go. Well, they were just killing our local economy and our people. And I thought, this is wrong. And then we've seen this, this deal with the mask. And I think that's obviously been a topic. We got 6 cases and we still got our kids in masks. There is truly science out there that show, both ways, however you want to look at it. It doesn't work. It does work. It should be a choice at this point. Half the stuff people wearing on their faces isn't stopping anything. It's just because they got to have it. So, we've been pretty passionate about that. We didn't feel that when the health department made their so-called mandate that they had the authority to do that without the county commission passing that into I don't want to call that a law or into an ordinance.
Adding
Until it passed.
enforcement to it.
Right. So there was nothing there. So we actually had to file a lawsuit. There was a group of us who did that locally, made up of mostly a lot of citizens and business people who just felt this was totally wrong for what they were doing to our community. And so we filed a lawsuit. And during the discovery process of that lawsuit, it was just proven through their own emails. I think the legal team went through something like hundreds of emails. It may have been 400, 800. It was a bunch of them. And they went through those emails, and during their own emails, what they discovered from the health department was even they knew they couldn't enforce it. It was a rule. It was a recommendation. That rule had no more legal enforcement than the Girl Scouts making a rule saying, hey, on Friday, everybody eats Thin Mints. They both carry the same amount of enforcement. Zero.
Right.
And then we saw our school board headed up by our superintendent jump on board with this, and they got together and they talked and had a conversation and said, hey, kind of this kind of deal type mentality. The health department tells them that, hey, if you put everybody in a mask and somebody gets COVID, well, then everybody doesn't have to quarantine, just the person that had the exposure and all their rules and all this stuff. So the school board, instead of thinking about it, listening to the parents and being practical about this thing, they just jumped on board with them and basically let the health department bully them into making people wear masks. So all along, the triplet has said, hey, we do this because of the mandate. Well, there is no mandate, not at the state level, not at the county level, not at the city level. There is no mandate. And he just kind of thumbs his nose at everybody and does as he pleases. Dr. Sharp's been one of the worst people there. I think Dr. Sharp, I'm glad he's leaving the board. I don't think it's been positive. And I think people just get so hung up in false kindness. Oh, we're going to say he did a great job because he was there for so long. That doesn't mean he did a great job just because he was there so long. It does not mean that.
Oh, he's been there a long time, years and years.
And I'm not saying everything he's done is bad. I'm saying his mentality as of late, since I paid attention to him, certainly is alarming to me. One of the most alarming things I heard was from the last, I believe it was Monday night's board meeting, Mike. They talked about the Gold Star program. And they're using this Gold Star program over at Bothwell, as I understand it. And so if you have a Gold Star, it shows that you've been vaccinated. So if you go into a room and there's other people in the room and they all have their Gold Star on, well, nobody has to put a mask on. But if you come in and you don't have a Gold Star, everybody in the room's got to mask up. Thanks, Mike. Why are you vaccinated?
You're going to be hated if you're the one.
And then to even talk about that in a way of a model program, one, I was shocked to hear they were doing it at the hospital. Like, I'm a small business owner, right? These guys are big business. I have just right at under 50 employees. They're big time. They have different HR stuff. I'll guess they've checked it out. But to me, I couldn't even imagine something like that happening in our company where we implemented a program like this that was that discriminatory in my mind to call somebody out for not getting vaccinated, a personal choice. It seems crazy. And then to bring that up in a school board meeting as, hey, and people start thinking, is this a good idea for school? This is ludicrous. I just don't get it.
Well, and it's I was just thinking about the star. It reminds you of what they did in World War II or prior to World War II. Is in this particular case, the stars are the good guys. So the pariah would not have the stars, but it's still the same thing. You're singling people out as bad. This person's bad. This person's good.
So I've stayed on their, but I have. I care. I graduated from Smith Cotton class of '89. My mom and dad, my grandma, everybody went to Smith Cotton, right? So we are a Smith Cotton family. Take pride in that. I'm a fourth generation Smith Cotton graduate. So I'm proud of that. I care about my school. And during all of this going on, I'm gonna be clear. If my school called me tomorrow, I mean, if Wade Norton called me up tomorrow from the high school and said, David, we need this or that, can you donate this or would you do this? Without a doubt, I would do it. I support our schools. I support our kids. And my wife's the president of the Booster Club for baseball. She puts so much effort into that year round. It's year round for stuff they do.
Right.
And I think, we're committed to our schools. And I think we'll be committed long after our kids are gone, too. We would still fill any needs. My son's a senior this year. And I will tell you, it breaks my heart. It pisses me off to think about him graduating, how hard he's worked. And they're going to make somebody cover their face to watch him, and they're going to make him cover his face to receive his diploma in the United States of America. It absolutely just drives me crazy to think that mentality could happen. And then for them to sit around and say they think on June 1st they will lift the mandate, there is no mandate. And for them to have that mentality,
Right.
it's a controlling mentality, and it's wrong. And basically, Triplett and that board, Scott Gardner, all of them. Scott Gardner, he just demeaned Matthew Herron for a comment he made. I've known Scott a long time, and I thought he was better than this. I did. It shocked the hell out of me that he did that. I've really been shocked by his thinking. I thought he was more solid than that. But it's just really shocking to me. And some of their behaviors and their comments. And then we got this guy sitting up on stage with goggles and 2 masks. And, you know, I mean,
Speaking of that one right
man.
there, I
6
actually took a
cases.
screenshot of that. That's what you're talking about. This is one of our school board members, correct?
That is it. That's a guy, I think, named Michael Steese. I think that's how you say his name. Pronunciation may be off. But yes, it's goggles. And I've heard people saying 2 masks. Some people confirmed it that were there. It was 2. I looked at the photo and had a little back and forth. Is it 1 or 2? I see the white down underneath. I don't know if it's his beard, Mike, or if it's a second mask. But nevertheless, this is the guy that's making decisions for your kids.
And I'm not trying to disparage anybody, but when you're up on a stage and you're more than 6 feet away from anybody,
probably less than 20 people in the building.
Yeah, I mean, why do you need the mask? Why do you need the goggles? Why do you need it? Now, don't get me wrong. You know, we started a campaign, and you were involved in that, of resist the mandatory mask when all that started happening last year. And your company, Sign Company, made some signs, and I got a couple of them, put them in my business, in my yard at home, and I even taped one to my door. It's still taped to my door. People will come in, they'll see the sign, and the first thing they do is they reach in their pocket, they pull out their mask because they don't read the sign, they just see the sign, right? They walk in, they see I don't have one on, and they're like, I said, look, you want to wear it? Wear it. You don't want to wear it? Take it off. We're about liberty here.
Man, that's that easy. Just it's that simple. If you feel better, wear it. If you don't. Just don't force people to do it. You know, I truly believe that we've got smart people in Pettis County, and most of these people can make decisions for themselves and their family. They don't need the health board down there telling them whether or not they need to wear a mask, or if they can go out and play soccer, or if it's safe to go to sit down and eat in a restaurant. That's a personal choice. You know, it just drives me crazy since I've seen going on. And, you know, when we talk about the school, you know, right now, I'll tell you one of the most ridiculous things there is. Liberty Park Stadium, near and dear to our heart. Like, love the place, right?
Yeah, the old vintage baseball has been around a long time.
I've donated signs for there. I've emptied trash there many a nights. I'm sure this year I'll empty trash there many more nights. Man, I don't take care of the field. They got some really good guys that do that. But during our time of playing there, I do whatever it takes to help, you know, and care about the place. It's just so much history. And today is really fortunate to have a place that cool. And so you go in there. I've been since last Monday night, Mike, a week ago Monday night. My son plays baseball. We were in North Kansas City, way up north. Played, I can't remember what something park baseball we played. We played so much baseball. Played up there, no mask. Nobody said nothing. Not a mask, please. Nobody. Just went and sat, and we took lawn chairs, some people sat in bleachers, you know, just sat out and watch baseball. Went over to Nevada Tuesday night. Went down south. A lot of baseball. So we go down there. Huge crowd, man. Nevada had it going on. A lot of support from adults to high school. Big crowd. Fun atmosphere. Good night of baseball. Not a mask in sight. Only people had a mask on was our boys, our baseball boys. Not the parents from either team.
While they were playing?
While they're in the dugout or riding on the bus or doing anything. They're wearing a mask.
Because of school policy.
Because of our school policy. Other team, no mask in the dugout, none of that BS. None of it, right? So this is going on. Go up to the concession stand. I got some popcorn and a hot coffee, and this is going to come in a little bit valuable when I get to the end of the story. So we go watch baseball, go home. No issues. We go over Friday and play in Springfield. Played at between JV and varsity, 3 different fields in Springfield. And so we played 4 games with the varsity, went to all 3 fields in Springfield, went in Walmart, went in Casey's. I mean, just a variety of places. Chick-fil-A. Went into all these places, no issues, no mask, no nothing. Any high school. But when you come over to the Smith Cotton tournament starting Wednesday, you got to have a mask to get in. But listen, the worst thing is they will have a resource officer or a policeman standing at the gate to check you for a mask in an open air stadium. It's got a roof, everything else is open. The sides are open, the back's got open, the front's completely open, it's screened in, and we're in there getting checked for this. The ridiculousness of it. This is even some more horse malarkey. Our booster club can sell you popcorn, but not out of the popcorn machine now, because that's dangerous, boys. You can only use microwave popcorn. That's okay.
Oh. Well, because it nukes the Coronis, don't you know?
Man, so and when I tell you this next part, just so you get the mindset of this.
And that, you're talking about here in Sedalia,
in Sedalia, Liberty Park Stadium.
They can't sell popcorn in a bag, and you had to an officer telling you had to wear a mask.
Absolutely. Now listen to this. So at that same game, and this is no way negative towards anybody involved. Okay. I understand the stadium's old. We can't turn the water on there yet because it's still got cold nights. It'll freeze. There'll be issues.
Right.
Just can't do it. Everybody understands that. It's been that way for years. No big deal. We put some porta potties out. Go out and use the restroom. You know, for concessions, we bring in like bottled water from Colligan and use that kind of stuff. You know, when we need like good water for coffee or stuff. So all that stuff's done right. No big deal. Everybody understands it. And we're playing it's cold outside. So the school district wants me to put my mask on to walk through the door and to walk out of the door, to go out to the porta potty, to take a leak where I can't even wash my hands, but I've got to have this mask on to come back in. And don't stop the concession and get any real popcorn because it can always be microwave.
You have to touch the mask after. Never mind.
Yeah. Listen. This is what I mean. This is our athletic director. This is our superintendent. This is our school board. These people are, man, honestly, they got to be smoking crack. There's no logical person who can figure this stuff out and make heads or tails of it. It makes no sense. Now, listen, I mean, I can go ahead and take my mask off, sit down, but you know what, Mike? It is, man, it is as wrong can be, and they know it's wrong, and all they have to do is just say, hey, it's a choice. It's that easy. And, you know, as we've dug into this and it really started saying, hey, what kind of job is Triplett doing? Well, as I found out, he's not that good with numbers. I found out about some checks that were written without any reprimand for hundreds of thousands of dollars without approval. I found out about meals that were being charged over $500 for two to eat. So
500. I bet me and you could eat pretty good for $500.
Listen, I've eaten a lot of good meals. I have. Anybody knows me, man. If I take somebody out to dinner, I say, let's go to dinner. I'm planning on taking you for the best dinner I can take you for, right? But even I haven't dropped $250 a plate. You know what I mean? It's like
not around here anyway. There ain't no place you gotta buy a lot around here.
I mean, even lobster and a good cut of beef at a good steakhouse might be $150. You know, I mean, what'd you do with the other 200? So,
right.
Anyway, just started looking at what the hell's going on. You know, I don't know. You guys are really doing a good job. They'd sit around and give everybody pats on the back, but it doesn't mean you're doing a good job. You know, and the thing is, Mike, we've got great teachers. I mean, incredible teachers. My son. I mean, he's had so many good teachers coming up through the 200 program. My daughter as well. I mean, there's a lot of good people in Sedalia 200. I mean, we've got good administrators, we've got good principals, we've got good teachers. Is everybody great? No.
I want to add to that. We got the ROTC program. My son's a senior also. His 4 years my older boy did 4 years ROTC. He's a E6, I think, in the Air Force, E5, E6. And he's just re-upped for the third time. So that's like 6, 6, 6. That's 18 that retire. And it gave him such an advantage with the ROTC. Now, my youngest boy, he's 18, graduating, just enlisted in the Air Force. And it's $5,000 more a year in his paycheck because he did 4 years ROTC. So our school has a lot to offer here in this area.
Absolutely.
ROTC is a great program.
That's why we have supported everything for over the years, everything from choir to robotics to every sports program, and we like doing it, man. We love doing it.
I see
We
your
do.
name everywhere, so I know you do.
I'd be disappointed if they didn't ask. Honestly, I care about it. I've walked up. It's my school. I graduated there. Man, Wade Norton's the principal. He graduated with my brother. I mean, I've known these guys forever. I truly believe most of these guys know this shit's wrong. I'm sorry, Mike. I don't like to say that. I just slipped out here. I promise you, I was in a pretty. Well, I kind of forget. We're just kind of talking, my two friends, not really sitting in a business meeting or a board meeting or something of that nature. So I apologize. I forget that other people can hear our conversation.
That's all right.
I've gotten so used to this Zoom stuff over this crazy COVID. I mean, I had used Zoom more than I even care to do. And now, what the great thing is? Man, we're old school. We're still pounding the pavement, and getting in, shaking hands, and seeing people. We're doing business the way it really should be done. And
right.
Most people appreciate it. I'm trying to get away from this Zoom so much.
Yeah. It's just not the same. Of course, I never closed. I don't think you closed your business down at all through this whole thing.
No.
You might have slowed down a little bit, but I don't think
we freaked out a little bit. I'll be honest with you. We run a multi-million-dollar payroll. We have a lot of families that count on our business. A lot of good people. We have a lot of good employment in the community. Our average wage is more than $46,000 a year plus benefits. So,
and let me add to that if you're living in the West Coast or the East Coast and you're watching me, think, well, that's not a lot. Let me tell you, in Sedalia, Missouri, that's a good wage. That's a really good wage. So, anyways, I just wanted to interject that.
That's around $24 an hour average. So, I mean, it's we have good positions and good people, and we feel like we're a good asset to the community. We try to get involved. We're involved with everything. I don't care if it's the rodeo, if it's the whatever's going on. We try to help out however we can. We believe it's good to bring tourism through Sedalia and book these hotels up, and pack the restaurants, and it's just good for our community. So we want to see everything going on, from baseball tournaments to soccer games to basketball. All the youth sports are huge for our community, and we want to see that stuff going on. Kids need that. Normalcy is needed. I mean, these young kids that went through COVID, and I do say the school district, I commend them. I do. They did some things really good. They did. But it's time to stop. It's time to stop with the nonsense. I don't discredit some of the things they did. I don't think everything they've done. Everything they've done is horrible. No, they were hit with some challenges. They reacted quickly. They got some stuff done. Was it all perfect or smooth? No. Did they react to things they've never been through before? Yes. I think there were some things that was good.
This time last year, nobody really knew what was going on. It was like, okay, we got this disease coming. They're saying 6 million people are going to die. Right. So this time last year, the school had to do what they had to do. They shut the school down, of course, till the end of the year. But they did the Zoom stuff, online stuff. But they, like you said, it's unprecedented times, and no one really knew. But as we learned, as the time went on, that maybe it wasn't as bad as it was. Here we are. We're still a year into this thing, messing with it.
And Mike, a lot of people, during all this stuff, I've really taken it upon myself to self-educate myself. I haven't watched cable news in months. I don't watch it. It's not news. I really don't. I don't watch any of it. I don't care who it is. I've really become a better researcher. I never consider myself a researcher at all. Unless I was looking up sign information or race car parts, that's one of the things I like to look at. So, but I really started learning and reading, and I came across some very intelligent people that I've enjoyed learning from them, and have explained to me history in ways that maybe I never learned it through a high school education. That's what I have. I mean, I don't have a college education or anything like that, Mike. If it wasn't for Kim Graves, I probably wouldn't have. I've been there on the 5-year plan or the 4.5-year plan. So, but nevertheless, Mike, I don't think success is made by a college degree. I'm really excited. My son is going to college this year, or next year, excuse me, he's senior this year. And he's been very fortunate to receive a very nice scholarship for pitching at Columbia College. And we're excited for him to take that next step in his life. And he's worked very hard for that. He's put the time in and, doing everything he's supposed to do academically, from that to the physical side. And he will be the first, my niece, I guess, was the first person to graduate the University of Missouri. And then my nephew went to college for a couple years, and then but Jeffrey, I'm really excited for him. He's taking that education to the next level. Over the years, there's been times, Mike, as we've grown. I've always considered myself smart. I don't consider myself a scholar, but I mean, I think I got common sense, and I've always said I truly believe that common sense, hard work, a calculator, and honesty will take you a long ways in this world. It's not all about degrees. I mean, some things about me people don't understand. Honestly, I don't type an email. Don't do it. I don't build signs. Don't do it. I don't build race cars. I don't do it. I have race car teams. I'm involved with a lot of stuff. Obviously, our company does things. I have people that do almost everything for me, but I do a lot of stuff, but I manage, I delegate, manage, and I put people, empower people to do their job and to do things. And, there's a lot of skills I don't have. If you wanted me to sit down and write a manual, I'd be at it 3 weeks or something. So you might do it in 2 hours. You want me to sit down and do a structural drawing, it might take me a year, and I got guys that'll do it in an afternoon. So, I've just learned that you don't have to know everything. You do have to know how to manage people. You do have to know how to think and take risks, calculated risks, and surround yourself with the best team. And outside of that, there are times in life I thought, man, I went to college. I probably wouldn't have learned that the hard way. I've learned stuff the hard way, But I also
all the guys that go to college have to learn it the hard way too. It's just more expensive.
Well, and that's the same deal. And Mike, and I thought, there's times that I think, damn, if I grew up working with my dad. When the time I was able to tag along, I worked.
He was a good man.
Yeah, and that was just his motto was, you never sat around. I mean, we were always working. I mean, like even when he worked a full-time job for other people, he had an extra job going on the weekend. We'd build a deck for somebody, we'd wire up a house, we were always doing odd jobs to make money to survive.
Right.
My dad was a really hard worker, and that's one thing he taught me. And he always told me, Mike, my dad didn't graduate high school. I think my mom and dad, my father passed away, a few years back, and cancer. And I had amazing parents. So my parents were here in Sedalia, and my mom was, I think 15, and my dad was 16 when my sister was born. And so my sister, 2 years gap between us, and they have 3 kids, and they're, my mom's like 21 with 3 kids, and my dad's, 22 with 3 kids. And, we in some senses, when you look back, we kind of grew up together. We were very young family. And,
right.
I grew up here in Sedalia. I lived over for, I think about 12 years. We lived at the Heritage Village Trailer Park right there. It used to be right there across from the college, and where the Stone Creek Plaza is at now. So I lived there in the trailer park, and my bedroom window, I looked right out at the entrance to the college. And so the college over there, that's where I used to live. And kind of the irony of it, I built a sign basically years ago in what was my yard. So, but I've lived all over Sedalia. I grew up, lived there, moved out on 32nd Street, or South New York when we were in, I think, sophomore year of high school. And when we moved out there, it was a repossessed FMHA house that we purchased. Our family did. We were excited. We had a home. We went and fixed it up. And when we moved out there were only 4 houses out there. Now there's a ton of houses. And then from there, I've been all, like I say, I've just been versed in Sedalia. I've lived in all corners. I've lived over on North Stewart for a small period of time in my life. My grandmother right by the railroad tracks. I lived over on Kentucky. I've lived on State Fair Boulevard. I've lived all over Sedalia, and so I grew up here. I know this place. I love it. There's probably not a street I haven't ridden my bicycle down, in my younger days.
Right.
So when I get vocal, Mike, it's not just to hear myself chirp. I mean, I want what's best for Sedalia and Pettis County, and that's kind of what's gotten some of this driven. And when I look at the health board, and I look at what community health really is, and they do a lot of stuff, the restaurant inspections and the stuff they do there, and keeping kitchens safe. And there's a lot to that side of stuff. There's a lot to even like, going through them to get your lagoon, or if you're in the county and you have your own treatment for sewage and stuff, there's divisions that go through county for that. Then you look at the WIC program, and you look at, all the things they do. I mean, it's an important agency, and their work is very important. I just think somehow they've gotten misguided and misunderstood what their powers should be, and where the line needs to be drawn. And I think that's not just in Pettis County. We've seen it happen in pockets and places all over the country. And I think, that's why we spoke up. It's not just to chirp or to yell or to see myself, say something. It's because I care. I put myself out there. I know I piss a lot of people off. I don't do it intentionally, but at the same time, I care too much to worry about pissing somebody off. I mean, that's just where we're at. This is important. I mean, this election tomorrow is going to shape the way we live. I mean, these people, these are the people who shut us down. Some of these folks, Mike, if elected, it could get worse for us. And we've seen they don't know how to lead. They didn't even know how to run their own board. They didn't know what they were doing. And so, that's why I've been vocal. And it's not just chirping. I'm not affiliated with any campaign. Like I'm not part of anybody who's running campaign. I'm just David, local guy that loves his community, put his money where his mouth was. I bought my own ads. I've done my own thing. I even had one candidate tell me, hey, David, I don't endorse that. And I said, well, I endorse you. And went ahead and ran the ad. So,
well, speaking of we have an election coming up tomorrow, and got several candidates that are running. I don't know if you want to pick one and talk about it or anything like that, but just if you're in Pettis County and you're supposed to be voting this election, what's important about this election?
I think the most important election we have is for the Board of Trustees. I think hands down, this could be the most important election Pettis County's had in a decade.
When was the last time we were able to vote for the Board of Trustees?
I've heard like 30 years. You might know it's a long time since it's always been appointed. Nobody even knew it existed. Nobody cared. Until they saw.
The firm number I could get was 2001.
Okay. So what is that? 20 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is about that, I was talking about my son graduating. He was born in 2002. So his entire lifetime, there's never been a name on a ballot for the Pettis County Health Board. And that's because incumbents, if nobody's running against them, they don't have to, it's state law. And I think that should change, but they don't have to put anything. They don't have to put it on the ballot. And somehow they manipulated that system. And here we are today.
And all this we're complacent, myself included. It's just
true.
We see, and that's why I talk to so many people, a lot of parents. We're just regular people. We get up every day, we go to work, we grind it out, and we come home. We try to be involved in our kids' life with sports and things of that nature. And my daughter, and we just try to have a good family life and do everything we're supposed to do. And we're just tired of seeing 3 or 4 people do this much damage to our community and have this much control over the masses. It just seemed wrong.
Right. It's frustrating when you've got a message that isn't consistent. And you're trying to operate a business, and you got somebody saying this and then somebody saying that, and of course, when they had that meeting, I said my little speech, and I finished with saying, "You can pass your mandate, but I won't comply. Sure, I'm not going to wear a mask at my business. I'm just not going to. I mean, I deal in used tires. You want to talk about dirty?"
Well, Mike, listen. The ridiculous thing is, you go through the drive-through and they're handing you this bucket, or you put your money in a cup, and you take your money out of the cup. Well, it's actually worse because everybody's touching the cup versus just putting the money in their hand. It makes no sense. And so when you see this craziness going on, and it's just got to stop somewhere. And then you see this stuff at school, like, for God's sakes, I mean, come on, Triplet, only microwave popcorn. I mean, who in the hell come up with that?
Well, then a lot of that is they're taking guidance from the health board. I mean, I know at the movie theater that they couldn't pop popcorn at the movie theater either, and I'm sure that's because they came in and said, these are the rules, and if you want to be open, you have to follow these rules. And when you're dealing with someone like the movie theater or a restaurant or something like that, they do have teeth. And your business and my business, the health board doesn't have much teeth, but in those restaurants and stuff, they do.
And Mike, listen, that's the thing. There was restaurants in this community. I talked to owners personally, and they were scared of the health board. Like, man, we want to speak out. I mean, they would call me out like, man, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm like, hey, put your name on the list. Oh my, yo, whoa, they'll come in here and find something wrong with my cooler. They'll find something wrong with this. They'll find something.
Yep.
I'm not playing. And they were literally scared of them, you know? And I thought, man, this is pathetic. Like, grow a pair, stand up to them, you know, like this is wrong. And so I seen that I had to, and I saw these people struggling. You know how many businesses I called up and said, hey, you know, like I knew they were struggling. I knew some people worked there. I said, hey, let us help. Can we do this? You know how many people we had extra meals catered to our facility? Just people struggling. Hey, we're gonna buy lunch for everybody today. We're gonna do some business with them. We tried to
Right.
do our part, Mike. Not just talking or screaming. We tried to really do our part. And it just is wrong. And for them to do that, they don't have any skin in the game. See, at the worst case scenario, every one of them people in those positions, like even if you look at like what there's like what Phyllis Dorman, she's on there. This Ann Richardson's on there. Brody Kempton's on there. Who else? And you look at these guys. Do you really think in his office anything changed when he said wear a mask? And the thing that pissed me off the worst was the day after they had to supposedly vote that hell, even they didn't even know if the vote was good. That weekend,
Right.
he had a party. In the Snapchat pictures, I was sure you was no social distancing. None.
Right.
Zero. And that's
It's
just the
rules
thing.
for
They
thee
want
and
to
not for me.
they want to tell us how to live. Hey, you
Right.
all wear a mask. Hey, come over to my house tonight. We're partying. No big groups. You all come over to my place. Don't go to church. We're throwing a big old party over here. Now
Yep.
that's just wrong, and they shouldn't do it. You know, and that's the thing with freedom of religion, Mike. To not have that choice to choose whether or not you wanted to go sit at church and take that risk. That's your right. That went too far with that. I mean,
Right.
you're going to tell me Walmart's open? I can go buy booze, and I don't have anything against booze. I mean, I enjoy a good cold beer. I'm not saying this in any way negative. I'm just saying you literally could go to buy beer, buy cigarettes. Dispensaries were open. All this stuff, but church couldn't be open. Don't forget when you go out and vote tomorrow. That's why I'm strong on these people. Don't forget the people that you're voting against are the people who made these decisions.
That's correct. And there's four people that for the health board
There
that
are
are a
40
group that are kind of
candidates.
running together, and that's Amanda McLean, Brandy Von Holton, John. Let's try to say his
Saltnoff.
name. Slotnoff.
Yep.
I always mess up his name. And Matt Smith. And all of them, I've done a couple of candidate forums with them. All of them would make great candidates.
They
All of
would.
them.
They would.
So it doesn't matter to me who you vote for. But the idea is about this, though. These are average people. These are business owners. These are nurses. These are computer guys. They're just average people like me and you. They're not
And that's what we need.
activists or anything.
We need
And
people who are looking at community health from a financial standpoint. Not. I mean, we want to look at it from a healthcare standpoint. We want to look at it from a mental health standpoint. There is so much of community health, but like when you start costing people their jobs and their businesses go bankrupt, and you create issues in people's lives that can be health issues. And I think that I think that you've got to look at the whole health of the community, not just COVID, no COVID. You got to look at what for every action, there's a reaction. And every time you do something, it affects someone else. And I think that we have a board who don't think about that. Honestly, do you think Kempton's office changed at all? Do you think they wore a mask? Do you think that, he could still work? Then, it's an attorney's office. What do? You do work. I mean, there's people in your offices. It doesn't really affect you. But when you are a small business, you count on people coming in and out, interacting, having employees, and all of a sudden you're restricted with masks, or you're restricted with people coming in, or whatever that might be, it starts affecting you personally. And I believe if it affected his own income the same way, he would not act like that.
Probably not. And the other
That's
thing
my
is,
opinion.
when you're dealing with these restaurants and stuff like that, their margins aren't all that great. I mean, restaurant businesses.
It's low margin. It's low margin, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are keeping pennies. I know some guys in the restaurant. Obviously, we built a lot of restaurant signs. I'm doing
Right.
a lot of them. And these guys will make more. They would rather sell you a Coca-Cola than the big deluxe sandwich. They're like, I make money on that Coca-Cola or that iced tea, but that big deluxe sandwich, we're just making a few pennies on that. We're making 50, 60 cents over on the drink, but on the, and so it's a crazy world. It's a high volume, low margin game. Yeah, I mean it's
And high
bizarre.
volume is the key word there. So when their businesses are shut down or they have to close their dining rooms and serve you out the back window or something like that, they're cutting down their margins. I mean,
Well, and the
it's
fear.
that's tough.
When you start scaring
And
people to go out and eat, or you start scaring people about this, or is that safe? Unfortunately, a lot of people are easily manipulated in that way, and I think it's sad. I think a lot of people just turn the news on and just take it because I heard it on TV or I heard the news person say it. It's got to be true. In today's world, you've got to go look, and you got to learn to search a little bit out there. I've learned a lot about different search engines that are there and available, and just the differences in what they all pull up. But I mean, I'd encourage everybody. Don't take what I tell you for the truth. Go look it up yourself. Hell, we saw school board minutes, and the one that torched my ass the most is I think it was the August 11th meeting, and there was a ton of people went out and talked to the school board
right,
about
right.
a ton of people. Hell, their own minutes say there was only 3 people who were in protest or had opposing opinions. Some I can look at the exact wording, but 3 people. Come on, you guys know, but their official record don't reflect whatever. I mean, 40 people. I don't know. There's a bunch of people that spoke. I mean, and so when you look at that, that was the night that Kevin Walker had to tell Sharp that everybody got a chance to speak, that we had to have Kevin conduct the meeting because Sharp couldn't even do that right. And so if you look at this, just little things like that. And there's other, I mean, that's just a little one. There's others. And I don't want to get quite a whole other topic, a whole other can of worms to open up sometime when you want to go fishing. I got a can. It's really interesting about that place.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, I interviewed Matthew Herring, and I heard a lot about his dealings, what he had to go through on the school board, as far as being the lone dissenter.
yeah,
And he couldn't get into some details, but he basically, man, they was out to get him. And
it's just bizarre the way our school district works, and honestly, it's wrong. When you're paying these kind of salaries that we're paying, and I have nothing wrong. I have nothing wrong with the person making a great salary. I have nothing wrong with the superintendent making 150, 60, 70,000, whatever year they're paying him. If you are truly showing savings, running this place like a boss, and you got the district in tip-top shape, I work more. I have no issues with paying people good wages if you're producing good results. When you're just
sure.
kind of sitting there talking out both sides of your mouth, playing the deal, hiding behind different issues, and really a lack of leadership, that's when I take issue. It has nothing to do. I'm all for paying people good wages, but we're paying a lot of money out there, a lot of money. Most people would be surprised to know. And with that kind of money, we expect that level of leadership.
You talk about teachers getting paid more, and of course they always deserve more, and the administrators getting paid more, and I mean, God bless them, they're doing a job I could not do. But the problem with that is they got they're finite. They're government funded, taxpayer funded. So there's only so much pie to go around. Where in your business and my business, if we go work our tail feathers off, or if you got a guy working for you that works his tail feather off and he starts producing more for you, there's a bigger a pile of money to pay him.
Absolutely.
Well, in the school, there isn't that. And that's a shame, but that's a reality.
That's the teachers union. That's probably one of the worst things I think for education there is.
Well, yeah, probably. And the other thing is with the teachers union, you're negotiating against yourself, but that's a whole different ballgame. But what I'm saying is in a regular business, well, why is it that the sports guy gets paid more than the teacher? Well, sport guys get paid more than the teacher because the guy that's shining the front of that check is making a lot of money off that sports guy.
Right.
But with a teacher, it's government funded, so it's not about producing an income. So as though we'd like to pay them all a lot more money, that just doesn't exist. It's not there. That's the tough part about a school district is trying to pay them what they're worth, but you can't.
Well, I think if you look at, in 2025, the tax comes back up on the new high school. It's up, it's done. And so they've been using the taxes that we're collecting until 2025 have become part of the operating budget to a degree. And so they're not going to know how to live without this money. And so that's going to be an issue. They don't want to talk about it now, but it's coming. Anybody who's paying attention to what's going on knows this is coming in 2025 because they got to do something. So you can't be acting like this and making bad decisions, and then come after the public to re-up sales tax on your high school tax.
If you're spending $500 for two people to go out
tax,
eat.
Yeah.
if you're $500 for two people go out and eat, and you come back to me and say, let's raise taxes, we need an extra million, so many millions of dollars to operate.
And there's a program.
Like,
there's a program called the 550 program, and
exactly.
I believe there's some legitimate people that program works really well for. But I also believe it's been abused in the past. I believe it was being abused, and I believe it will continue to be abused. And that program, if you look at an administrator can come in and draw, 80% of a $100,000 salary on a retirement, I think it's something like that. And then you can come in and work like 550 hours, and that's going to be from $35 to $60 an hour, depending on what your wage was or your salary was, somewhere in that range, 150 hours. And there's some people that maybe are involved in that program that don't really output what they're getting, but they're also getting free health care, or I wouldn't say free, it's on the taxpayers. Right. So we're paying health care, we're paying benefits, and a lot of what I feel like could be the good old buddy system going on with that. And there's a lot of things that teachers, I think there's ways to pay teachers more money. And I think there's a way to make people be more responsible with our tax dollars.
In other words, cut some of the fluff out and give that to the teachers that are working on it.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's I don't know. Listen, I'm realistic. There's fluff everywhere, right? And to a degree, maybe there needs to be a little bit. Maybe there needs to be a little bit of fluff because there's just the real life scenarios you can't plan for, things you got to do, whatever comes up. But not to this degree. Not like this, And I don't even have an issue with a superintendent. If you're on a business trip and you're at a meeting and you got to have a nice dinner, I have an issue with that. But there's always a mindful place where you're at.
Nice dinner. I mean, that's really. That's what. I mean, I've ate in Dallas, Texas, downtown at some really, really, really nice places. I've gotten $200 for two people, but I ain't never got no $500. So, and Dallas, Texas rates are a little higher than Sedalia, Missouri. Just saying.
And I haven't seen the receipt firsthand, but I certainly heard about it and knew about a couple of expenditures that were written without approval. And just little things. And, and I'm not saying everybody has to be perfect and never make a mistake. But if you're going to start making bad decisions and constantly be doing the stuff you're doing, it's only going to bring light to that, And that's just what, I hate it, because honestly, I care about our schools. It's just bizarre what we're seeing happening.
One of the things that is being discussed in the feed here is suicide rates because of the job losses and the shuts down, the people being isolated have gone up.
Mike, that's a terrible thing. Our company donates our conference room and meeting space. We do that because we like I say, another community support thing that we support, the local organization called Defeat, and it's a suicide prevention and group here in Sedalia, and they work with people whose families have been affected by suicide, and they also work to try to prevent it. And we host their monthly board meetings, and it's a wonderful group. Some really good people on there with a lot of passion, and unfortunately experiencing that with that. And so, we do that. And so I understand, that's what I say, the mental health need in our community is huge. It is really huge, and something I hope that the health board, and I think these people will address that. And, and honestly, I'm not against more funding if it's going to the right place. I don't know what funding needs are, but I think we're going to get people in there that's going to educate us on where we're at and what the needs are and what we can do to make it better for the community. There's
I know at the candidate forums, a lot of that was discussed about mental health, about some programs that are out there, some grants that can be gotten. There was a lot of discussion about that, and most of those were posted live on Facebook, a couple different places. If you can,
the Pachyderm Club did a good deal with those, and the Pachyderm Club, I really appreciate what they do with that, Mike. A lot like your show. You get it out there for people. You guys are really getting it out there for the citizens to see and do that. I wish we had a local TV network, but we don't. So, we got social media, we got
Facebook, and we're good. On that note, I just want to add something. I want to play a video real quick, and I want to see what you think of this. This is one I found on the internet that I just thought, explaining everything that's going on with the virus and everything. I just thought this was really profound. So I'm just going to play it here real quick. It's kind of grainy, but I think you get the gist of it. Wait a sec. I got to unmute it first. Got to be smarter than the piece of machinery you're operating. Let's try it again.
So I just want you to sit down if you've had a friend or a loved one that has died of COVID-19. And those that are sitting, I'm sorry. My heart goes out for you. It truly does. But look around the room. This is one of the so-called greatest pandemics, the deadliest pandemics of our time. Right? Now, I want you to sit down if you've had a friend or loved one that's died of cancer. Heart disease, obesity, diabetes, Alzheimer's. Look around the room. One out of two people in this room are going to get cancer in their lifetime. 80% of Americans right now are suffering with a chronic disease associated with poor lifestyle choices. 50% of our children. 700,000 people will die of heart disease this year. 600,000 will die of cancer and 300,000 will die of obesity. 1 in 6 children have a neurological developmental disorder delay. 1 in 9 has ADHD. 1 in 11 has asthma. Now 1 in 36 has autism. This is the real epidemic.
So anyways, oops, there we go. Anyways, I just saw that video and it kind of put the perspective what we're talking about here as far as shutting everything down. That crowd, when he said cancer, everybody sat down. I thought that was wild.
It is, Mike. You know, I think that's what we see with. I was actually trying to run my remote control here, Mike. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was getting a little warm in my office, so I was trying to bring the temperature down. I think I got it. So, yeah, I mean that's the deal. I think if you look at a lot of people don't follow, but the PCR tests that they were using to do testing prior to the administration switch for the president, they were using PCR tests that magnified at 40 times magnification. They backed it back off to 17 the day Biden went into office. So you're going to naturally get lower numbers. And then you look at the person who invented that test come out and said, we really shouldn't be using this test for it anyway. And then he mysteriously died in his sleep. But that's a whole nother story for another time. But if you just look at that PCR test, the recalibration of that, and you heard them, like CDC come out, all that, we're recalibrating the test. No, you're just setting it back where it was. You're not recalibrating it. You're just setting it to 17 times magnification. So,
right.
When you look at our rates are naturally going to go down lower. I mean, I don't think anything's different. The test is different. I think, probably at this point, we got 6 cases I've seen today in Pettis County, 6 cases. I know, Mike, I just can't help but really feel that there's probably way more than 6 people walking around in Pettis County right now with a virus, a disease, or a sickness that's way worse than COVID-19. And we don't know. We're not wearing masks, and we wouldn't wear them otherwise. I'm saying you can come into contact with anything any day. I've got friends in the medical industry, and they're like, hey, I worked through this whole thing. I never got COVID. They weren't freaked out. And I have a lot of friends in the medical industry feel the same way I do. A lot of them, doctors, nurses, just a lot of them. And so I've had a lot of teachers reach out to me and say thank you. I've had teachers reach out to me and ask, what should I do? And I'm like, hey, I'm not an attorney. I can tell you what I would do just personally if I was involved, but I can't tell you what, I wouldn't give you advice on what you should do or how you should handle it. But, that's why I do it. I've had more people say thank you. I've had a few people I know I've really ruffled some feathers, but it's not personal. It's just I care about our community, and I don't know what else to do than speak up. And if I didn't, and I'm not doing this for the future of Pettis County, the future of my family, then I don't want to look back and feel like, man, I should have done something 20 years ago. I mean, this thing was getting out of hand then. So that's why, Mike, that's why I'm going to get out tomorrow. I'm going to go vote early, and I'm going to vote for John Saltnoff. John Saltnoff. I'm going to vote for Amanda McLean, and I'm going to vote for Vandy Von Holton. I'm voting for Matthew Herron and Michelle Quattlebaum. I think they're our most solid candidates. I don't think there's anything wrong with Mr. Smith. I just really believe that we need 3 people, and these 3 people are my top 3. I think I hope everybody will join me in voting tomorrow, and hopefully parents, you get out there and take care of your family. Oh, hey, Mike, one more thing before we get off here. Probably one of the most important things was really just wrong is, the health department, I put out a video and talked about the health department talking about the vaccination. The vaccine would be available April 9th to kids 16 and over, and that she had spoken with the superintendent, and that, that if kids who chose to get the vaccination, if they come in contact with someone who had been exposed to COVID or had COVID, they wouldn't have to quarantine for the prom or graduation, and that their goal was to get all these kids through prom or graduation. Well, in other words, if the only way you can get them through guaranteed is with the vaccine, you want to get as many of them through as you can, kind of tells us where you're heading. And the fact that you talk to the superintendent. So
they're holding graduation and prom over these kids' head, trying to force them to get the vaccine.
Well, and that's the thing. Then the school district called me on Saturday. I was down in Springfield. I was down for a varsity for baseball. And I literally just left the field. And as I told you, my wife's the president of the Booster Club. So I am just like the automatic driver. I know whatever she says we're doing, I'm doing. And so
right.
we were heading to Chick-fil-A to get 43 chicken sandwiches, right? I don't know, the number sticks in my head. 43 chicken sandwiches. So calling ahead, get these things ordered. BJ Curry calls me and says, "Hey, would you make a video saying that school wants nothing to do with this? This is not, we're not doing it. We're not requiring it. We don't know anything about it. It's not us." I said, "Man, I'll have to think about that." But I have a lot of respect for BJ. I have a lot of respect for a lot of people in the school district, right? So BJ called me, and I really figured that was Triplett and them sitting around saying, "Well, who in the hell's going to call him? You going to call him? Are you going to call him?" And he got the short straw. I don't know what happened there, but we had a conversation. I wouldn't say that it was it wasn't rude, but I was obviously pretty firm with my feelings with this. And I think, I respected what he asked, and I made a video saying, "Hey, the school district says they're not going to do this." And I think the parents, because they were hearing from the parents were getting fired up, and they should have. And I'm proud of all the parents, all of us. We all fired up and stuck together, and the school heard us loud and clear. And they said, "We don't have anything to do with it." But then we know that Joanne talked to Triplett. She said it in her board meeting. And so just to clarify that, I don't want to say they were insinuating it as a rumor. It's not a rumor. I posted it on my Facebook page. Go play the audio. You can clearly hear her say it. You can hear her say their goal is to get them through the graduation. You can hear her say about the vaccination guaranteed it. She talked to the superintendent, and just listen to the words and listen closely to the words.
You're talking about the Pettis County Health Department, the board of trustees.
Thursday night meeting.
Not the school board. Just want to clarify that.
The health department.
But the health department wants to hold this over the head of the students to make sure they get the vaccine. If they could, they'd mandate the vaccine. I truly believe that, but they can't. So
and listen, I just believe that vaccination or mask is a personal choice. If you want to wear it, that is awesome. Wear it, man. Wear the bling, wear the decorator, whatever you want to do. Wear it. If you want to get a vaccination and you feel that that's the right thing for you, and you've researched it and you think, "Hey, it's safe, I'm going to do it," and you outweigh the risk versus reward or the unknowns, that's your choice. Do it. And if a child, and the school's not requiring any COVID vaccine, they're not requiring it. Hell, I don't blame them. Can't require it. But when you look at the when you look at the COVID, I mean, that's a personal choice. If a parent wants a kid at 16 to get it, that's a decision between the parent and the child that they got to work out in family level, and for people to be pushing their agendas, and it's just wrong. And, they can come out and say, just the BS, I'm not saying Joanne is a terrible person as a human being. She just either is really an evil person, which I don't believe, or she just is too involved to know how wrong the things she's saying and doing are.
I think I heard Candace Owens says that these people that are forcing this down our throat, they love us too much. They care for us too much. You need to back off a little bit. We don't need you caring for us that much. That's the way she put it. So
and just keep in mind, listen, I know for a fact, but after they made the rule mandate, one of the board members to a big old bang up party, and that's just like, "Hey, don't you do it, but I'm going to do it." I was talking about you guys. We recommend you guys do all that, not us.
You shut down your business. You guys
social distance, do all your stuff.
but not us. We're not. We're
Right.
and they, that's classic Animal Farm, is what that is.
Yeah.
That's rules for thee, but not for me. It's the same thing as when the mayor of Kansas City, when they were totally locked down, total mask mandate, total everything, and it was the law in Kansas City, they would come and arrest you. But the mayor of Kansas City went to the Lake of the Ozarks over the summer, where there was no mask mandate, there was no social distancing, there was no nothing. Lake of the Ozarks had the best year they've ever had, by the way. But he went down there, mask free, partying, there was social media posts, and that's just it. If it was so bad that you have to make a rule because it's life-threatening, then it's life-threatening everywhere you go.
Absolutely. And he knew it wasn't. Everybody knew the politics behind it. It was clear
Right.
as could be. And honestly, how can it work? If I could take an old pair of underwear, I can make a mask and wear it. I could take this piece of mesh. My wife has one. It's all blingy, looks really pretty, but it's virtually mesh. She could spit through it. It's ridiculous. I mean, just cover your face. I could literally take I've seen lace. I saw actually a girl wearing like some lace panties, like that type of stuff she cut out.
Right.
It was crazy. Wearing them in public, and you can breathe. And so that's okay. So you can't tell me it's about my health when the masks we're wearing don't even fit proper. They're not filtering. I mean, it's just freaking ridiculous.
Well, early on in the year, when we first started going through all this stuff, I did a video and I talked about how when I was in the Army in 90, 91, 92, I was tasked to the decon team. So what we did is we had to, it's NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical. Okay. So we had to get in what's called MOP 4, which is you're covered completely and you got the respirator on and the canisters and all that stuff. So we had to learn how to decontaminate people. So how to get out of the uniform properly, basically, and decontaminate. And one of the things I knew was there was the vapor line. So when you crossed over that vapor line, you can't have any vapor emitting off you. You can take off your mask. There was the wet line where you can't have anything wet, but you had to completely seal that off or you get contaminated. And when you're talking about nuclear, biological, or chemical, you're serious. I mean, this is stuff. So when they're telling me that I can go take a washcloth and put it over my mouth, I'm going, this is BS because that does nothing. It's
right.
I actually made a mask out of shoestring and duct tape.
How many people have you seen? Honestly, I really think that the administrators at these ball games or soccer games or wherever, I really think they get off on the authority to tell you to put a mask on. I truly do. I think there's quite a few of them out there. Now, listen, I went to a couple places this year where masks was required. I just sat and ate peanuts the whole time. Like I have a mask on. I'm gonna eat peanuts all night long. Because that's the rule for eating or drinking, one peanut at a time. So
right.
I won't have one on. But we have mask police, and a couple of them pretty cool. Like, yeah, keep eating your peanuts. And a couple of them like, are you done eating those yet? Nope, gonna take me all night. I assure you. That's where I'm at.
And if I get low, I'll go get more.
So
I bought the extra large bag.
And just, honestly, just the Sedalia 200 and triplet and his security cop or administrator or policeman at the door saying, "Oh, I'll put a mask on." I mean, it's just the mentality and the mindset that you get greeted with, that the hospitality, it just tanks. It's just like, man, it is just wrong. It's embarrassing for our community. Truly is. I mean, it is. If you saw these kids get off the bus all masked up, everybody looking like, what the hell's wrong with these kids? Oh, they got a mask on? Are y'all still wearing those? Yeah, hell, we're from Sedalia. We're still wearing them, man. It's like that's
because we have a rule in place that's unenforceable.
And it's a rule. It's not even an ordinance. It's not a law. It's a rule. And like I say, that and the Girl Scouts Thin Mint rule carry the same amount of enforcement. So
right. So here's, although I'd eat the Thin Mints, by the way, but probably too many of them.
Absolutely.
But I was just thinking, and we'll end here pretty quick. Just in the last few weeks, I know 2 months ago, if I went into Walmart or Woods, which is one of the grocery stores here in town, that I would say probably 90% of the people had masks on. And I'd be walking in. My daughter was always scared someone's going to say something. She wouldn't go in without a mask. She's my 13-year-old by herself.
Intimidation.
Yes. But when she's with me, she doesn't have a problem because she knows nobody ever says anything to the guy who's 6'4" and 300 pounds for some reason. I don't know why, but I go in without a mask. Nobody ever says anything to me. I was like, doggone it, nobody ever confronts me. But I noticed just in the last week or two, going in the woods. In fact, I was in the woods yesterday, day before yesterday, and I looked around, and I'd say it was less than 50% of the people had masks. Of course, all the employees had masks on. They didn't have a choice, but a lot of people are saying, I'm done with the mask. And again, personal choice. I think it's a good thing. I
do too. Honestly, that's what it should be. Just a choice. You want to wear it, wear it. If you don't. You know, if you're wearing, it's just as simple. It's as simple as that. You know, I truly believe in live and let live. I don't care what anybody does. I don't care who throws a party. I don't. It's when you tell me we should be social distance. We shouldn't be doing this, and then you throw a party. That's what I have a problem with.
If you want to have a knockout, tag out party,
man,
have one.
Live, let live. Hell, I like to cut loose once in a while. You know, I want everybody to do what they want. You stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine. But when you start trying to tell me how to drive my car, I don't like it. Don't like it at all. I think that, you know, like I said, as adults, we can make good choices for our kids, for our own families, and that's why I hope that you guys will really get out there tomorrow and vote. Mike, I can't stress it enough. John Saltonoff, Amanda McLean, Randy Van Holten for that health board, and man, I'm telling you, Matthew Herron and Michelle Quattlebaum, the most solid choices you can get as a parent or a citizen of this community on that school board to represent us. So again, I'm not a political analyst. I'm a nobody. I'm just a local guy, born in Buffalo Hospital, graduated Smith Cotton High School, run a company here local with local people, and we work all over the country, and we're really good at what we do. And outside of that, man, that's just who we are. We're just hardworking, blue-collar folks.
All right, David, I do appreciate you coming on and telling us what you think. I really do appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody else out there appreciates it. So just hang on for a second. I'm going to drop off here, and we're gonna say goodbye to everybody. I do appreciate everybody jumping on and watching me. If you live in Pettis County and you're eligible to vote, please go vote. This is probably, I know this is a little election. They take these elections and they put them in a weird time of the year instead of putting them all together, because they want a low turnout so they can control it. So everybody needs to get out there. We need to bust the doors down and get out and vote tomorrow. So please, if you're in Pettis County, go vote. It's very important that you do that. And do me a favor, please go over to Rumble and follow me there. Follow me on the YouTube, and then follow me on Telegram. I really would appreciate it if you would do that. As I do my shows, and I'm live 8:30 every single morning. I got my political commentary stuff. If you like what we talked about today, you'd love my show in the morning. So please, if you've never seen me before, follow me. Do me a favor right now. Just go and follow me on YouTube or Facebook. Just follow me, subscribe or whatever. I think you really enjoy it. So with that, you guys have a great day. We're going to sign off here, and see you in the morning. Talk to you later.